Hey guys, Stacy Horton, your Lifeline to Home Realtor with Maximum One Greater Atlanta Realty. Today I'm going to talk about what sellers should expect. There are tons of things out there on the internet for buyers, a lot of informational videos, a lot of reading material for buyers, and there's some out there for sellers as well, but just not as much. And that was the reason why I decided to do this topic next. Um, just because, when I run across a lot of sellers, there are a lot of things that have changed since they may have bought their home, and there are definitely things that have changed since COVID 19. So I just wanted to kind of go into what sellers should expect when they put their home on the market. Where it starts is you have a thought, you want to sell your home. Why you want to sell it is going to, of course, be different for everyone. It may be that you need to upgrade. It may be that you need a bigger home because your family size has changed. Um, it may be now you're an empty nester, and so you want to go to a smaller home, or health conditions that you need a home where you don't have to worry about going up and down steps and that forth. You may need a basement that you don't have before, just different reasons. Your job may have moved from Alpharetta to now they are in Fairburn, which would be odd, but could happen. And you want to lessen your commute. Um, those reasons you do need to keep in mind once offer starts coming in and you start negotiating, um, even to the point where are you needing to sell, or are you just wanting to sell? Um, I've even had some sellers that decided they just didn't want the maintenance of a home anymore, or they didn't know where they wanted to live anymore, so they put their house on the market and then rented something for about 6 months to a year till they decided, okay, I'm ready to buy again, or I'm going ahead and leaving the state and moving elsewhere. But just keep those reasonings in mind of why you're selling. So, one of the first things you need to do when you think about selling is start looking for a realtor. And I do suggest interviewing, just to see different realtors market different ways. We all market, but the way we market your home may be different. The price point also kind of makes a difference in how we're going to market. The way you would market a $500,000 home, an $800,000 home is not the same as you would market a $150,000 home. And it's not because, one home is technically better than the other. Is just that you're reaching or trying to reach different markets. So what one market may be expecting, another market isn't. So there are different ways to that the marketing will be done. When you also interview your agent, your realtor, you want to look at things like their years of experience. Even though you can have a novice realtor, their client base may have been only in the market, be a realtor for the past year, but they may have 90% sellers. Whereas you may also interview someone that's been a realtor for 20 years, but 90% of their base is buyers, or even 100% of their base are buyers. There are some agents that work strictly with sellers and some agents that work strictly with buyers, and then some agents like myself that work with both. Um, Especially when you have a seller that's also buying, so you are taking care of both sides. And that's something else I'm going to say. If I've seen some people where they'll have one realtor sell their home, but they don't want that realtor to help them buy a home, or they have another realtor that's going to buy. It's best to keep it with just one person, one realtor. And the reason being is because a lot of things need to be, especially if you can't buy the other home without selling the first home, a lot of things need to be coordinated. And the less people you have involved, the less confusion, and the better things can flow. Um, Also, with COVID 19, you want to look at what the agent is doing to protect your home. Um, or even if you have certain requests that you want to have done when showing your homes, and having a photographer come in to take the photographs. Once you get your realtor, they should do what is called a CMA account. And even some realtors like myself, when you call us to interview, on that day that we meet, I will actually have the comp. And a lot of agents will have the comps with them, so they already know what the market value is of your home. Um, I'm sure you have an idea of how much you want to sell your home for, and hopefully those two numbers are very close, if not the same. Um, and that's something too you will discuss with your realtor, especially if it's not the same. Like if you're thinking your house is worth 270,000, but comps are showing it's worth 250,000. That's something that you do need to come together with, um, to get that list price when you put it on the market. So after you're interviewing your realtor, and the agent also should talk about this with you, but I'm gonna go over it a little bit too. You need to start prepping your home. One of the biggest things is decluttering. All of us, if you've been in a home, unless you're a minimalist, but if you've been in your home at least a year, and yes, I do have people that have sold after being in their home for 1 year. Most of the time it's been because of job transfers. But you start accumulating stuff, and you don't really realize how much you've accumulated until it's time to move. But if you can start before the house goes on the market, that is the best thing you can do. Not only does the house show much better, but it's just less stuff to worry about when it does come time to move. Declutter, clean. Declutter, clean. Declutter, clean. That is the biggest thing that I can say. And you want to do it before it's the picture day, or what we call photo day. Those photos will be online, and the first interest a buyer has comes from looking at the photos online. Location does matter, but once they say they decide, okay, I want to be in East Cobb, and they start looking at pictures, there may be one house that is very, very similar to your house, but if your house is not clean or decluttered, which shows up in pictures, they may not even want to come see it. And so that reduces your chances of getting your house sold. So declutter, clean. It would also be a good idea, if there's something you already know about that needs repairs, go ahead and get the repairs done. You may also think, well, I should go ahead and have an inspection done. And that way, when that inspection comes back, there are certain things that you can go ahead and address before you even put it on the market. Some people discuss, should we update, like if your house is dated, should we update? That is something that depends on the market at the time, where your house is located, and just two, most importantly, do you have the money to do it? And there are certain things that just aren't worth updating. You're not going to get the money back for it. It'll make your home show better, yes, but it may not be cost efficient. Then there are some things that are cost efficient. But again, that's something you need to discuss with your realtor, because there are other factors in play of whether or not you should update. Some updating can increase the value of your home. I'm sorry. There are some updating that can increase the value of your home. Kitchens and bathrooms. But again, if it's not cost efficient, it may not be worth doing. That's something, again, you would discuss with your realtor. You also may want to think, do you want to have a home warranty for that listing period? And that's for if dishwasher goes down, the refrigerator, if you're going to leave it, goes down. You have that home warranty in place that can take care of it. It also, most of the home warranties, it can transfer over to the buyer. And in a lot of cases, you may have buyers that'll ask for a home warranty anyway, so it's already in place. You will have some buyers that want to choose their own home warranty company, and if they do that, that's fine. Then that warranty that you got would end at listing period. Once the house closes, it's only for the listing period. Also, what you want to, once you and your realtor come with a good list price, you want to think about what is your bottom line. What is the bottom line you want to net? Say you put your house on the market for $250,000, but you know that after paying closing costs and commission and repair costs, you want to still net about $210,000. And also remember too, if you still owe a mortgage, that's going to be taking effect as well. So make sure you know your bottom line, and you and your realtor sit there and discuss that. So once the house goes on the market, your photos are done. Hopefully, the repairs are done, or some repairs are done. Some updating is done. The cleaning's done. The decluttering is done. The house goes on the market. You're going to start getting showing requests. Uh, One of the things that your realtor should discuss with you is, do you need notification? Do you want 24-hour notice? Do you want a 2-hour notice? Is it going to be a by appointment only? Have you already moved out of the home? So are dates and times really an issue? If you've already moved out of the home, sometimes you still want to know. I know as a realtor, I want to know when somebody's going home, so I still say that it has to be by appointment only. Some clients are ready to sell, so they'll just say, you know what, just say go and show. If you work in the home, I know you need a schedule. And it's best if you work in the home or just at home, period. During that showing time, it's best that you're not at home. That way the buyer can walk through and speak with their realtor freely, and they won't feel pressure or stress because you're there. Even if it's you go walk your dog or you go to the backyard. I know with COVID-19, a lot of people are working from home, so that may be somewhat difficult. But at that time, you can also tell your realtor, I don't want showings, let's just say Monday through Friday before 3 p.m. And so your realtor will actually put that in the private remarks for other realtors so they know, okay, we cannot show this home till after this time. And they'll schedule it for, during the times that you are able to show it. But again, it's best not to be there during showing times. The lockbox. Some sellers don't want the lockbox on their front door or their back door, which is fine. You could just keep it in the foyer, and when you know an appointment or a showing is happening, you can just stick the lockbox on the front porch for the realtor. So once you start going through your showings, let me say one other thing about showings. So remember when I said that you may think your house is worth $270,000 and the comps are showing that it's worth $250,000, and you and your realtor decided, okay, let's put it on the market for $262,000, kind of meeting in the middle somewhere, and you're not getting a lot of showings, especially during this time. That says one big thing: it's overpriced. And you're just not getting the showings. So it may be a good idea to readdress that list price and maybe come down a little bit and just start seeing the showings, or if you're getting showings or more activity on your home. So let's say you've had a good showing amount and you've gotten an offer. There are things on that offer that's negotiable. You may like one thing but not like another. The biggest thing most people look at first, of course, is the purchase price. What price is the buyer offering? That's negotiable. Your closing cost contribution is negotiable. The earnest money amount that you want from the buyer is negotiable. Closing date is negotiable. Possession date is negotiable. Closing attorney is negotiable. Special stipulations is negotiable. In special stipulations, they could ask for a home warranty. They could ask for the house to be professionally clean once you move out. There's a bunch of different things they can ask for. Any of those things on there, you can negotiate. You may like 2 or 3 of them, but don't like one of them. You can negotiate all of that. You may be closing on another home, and you already have your closing attorney picked. You can say, I want them to use the same closing attorney, so we're all there on the same day and everything moves a little bit more smoothly. Also, you may be in a multiple offer situation. If that is the case, your realtor should call for highest and best. And what that means is you are asking the buyers, everyone that's completed an offer, that you want their highest purchase amount and their best terms. Best terms could be closing date, closing cost contribution, the other stipulations. Normally there's a deadline for that, and then you and your realtor will get together with all of the offers, and you would pick the best one that fits your situation. Some buyers, the bottom line would be the purchase price. Some buyers' bottom line is closing costs. Some sellers, it's closing costs. Some sellers, it's purchase price. some sellers, it could just different things. There are also things that are important to the buyer. So that's something you would look at, and even though you get a multiple offer situation, you can pick one offer and still counter them on that offer. So once you've gotten under contract, you've picked an offer, now you're binding. That due diligence period, the buyer is going to go in and do their inspection. They're going to request their repairs. If you're selling as is, a lot of times that's stated up front, so they're still going to get an inspection, but they may not request it. Well, I won't say they may not. They're not going to request repairs because they know they're purchasing the home as is. If you're not selling as is, then when they do their inspection and they come back with their repair request, that's something else that's negotiable. You can negotiate all of it. You can negotiate one or two things. You may say, I'm willing to do this, this, and this, but not this, this, and that. And that's something else that you will negotiate. I've had sellers do both. I've had sellers say, I'm not fixing this. And I've had sellers say, I'll fix everything on the list. So it just depends on what you're able to do. And the time, and sometimes even too, the time frame can make a difference. If you have a quick closing, say you have a cash buyer and you can close in 2 weeks, there are some repairs that you may not be able to get done in time. And there are things that you can negotiate with that as well. So let's say you're past the negotiation period on the repairs and now due diligence is over. And so you're basically just waiting on the lender to complete everything with the buyer's mortgage. There are still certain things that you need to do. If it is a FHA or VA loan that the buyer is using, there are certain things that will be required. Like you're going to need what is called a Georgia clearance letter. A Georgia wood infestation clearance letter is basically saying that there are no termites or there's no termite infestation, and if there has been, it has been treated, or if there is a current problem, it's going to be treated. FHA and VA loans require that. Conventional, most of the time, it will just be the buyers wanting to have that, and it's not expensive. There are a lot of companies out there, they'll even do it for free. Another thing that you would need to do is, if you are in an HOA community, you are required to provide an HOA clearance letter, which will come from your HOA management company. There is a fee. The ongoing fee is $250. It could be a little more, it could be a little less. Most of the time, you have to pay before closing. It's not something that's going to be added to the closing costs that you're responsible for. Most of the time, it has to be paid before to even get the letter. A lot of times the closing attorney will put the order in and they will email you the order details, and you can just go in and pay it. Let's see. Trying to think. The HOA letter is basically saying that there are no liens on the home and that nothing will be, except for like if there's an initiation fee or what part the buyer will be responsible for the rest of the year. That's pretty much what that letter is for. Making sure that I'm telling you everything about HOA. Okay, the appraisal will be done during that time as well. Normally the appraisal, I've seen so many different time frames now. Before, I used to see it about a week or 2 weeks before the closing date for the appraisal. Now sometimes I'm seeing it being done as early as 5 days once you've gone binding. That's another time somebody else is going to need, the inspector needs to come in your home and the appraiser needs to come into your home. What the appraiser does, they do not work for the buyer or for you. They really don't work for the mortgage company either, but they're kind of representing the mortgage company. And basically, say you put your house on the market for $250, your purchase price offers for $250. They're going to come in and do comps and look throughout the house, and they're going to tell the mortgage company, yes, the home is worth $250. And really what they do, they will assign a number, but on the seller side, the only thing you're going to know is it appraised. The appraisal is good, which means that it's at least worth the purchase price. It can be more, but on the seller side, they're not going to tell you what that actual amount is. If the appraisal comes in lower, say you're selling for $250,000, but it came in for $245,000. The buyer does have the option of walking away as long as they get that appraisal back within their appraisal contingency period. That's something else that you guys negotiate. Again, if it's FHA, even if it's FHA or VA, but I would even mention it doesn't matter what type of loan it is. If that appraisal comes in less, it may behoove you to go ahead and sell at that price. That appraisal sticks with that property for up to 6 months. So even if you don't do it and another buyer comes in a week later and gives you a purchase price that you like, if it is above the appraisal price, the mortgage company is not going to approve that loan. But you can ask the buyer to pay the difference in cash. You can ask the buyer to pay half and you'll come down half. There are a lot of ways you can negotiate that. So, say now we're at closing day and everything is done. There's a lot of things that you do have to sign, not as much as the buyer because you don't have the mortgage part to do, but you do have to sign some things. If you did do repairs, those repair requests, the repair receipts should have already been turned in, or they may not be requested until closing day. Usually the day before, I would say anywhere from 2 days to a day of closing day, the buyer will usually go back in and do what they call a final walkthrough. Basically, that is to make sure that the repairs were done, even if you've provided receipts. That's also to be sure that nothing has happened during that period. You know, you didn't have a flood and the basement flooded out. The house didn't burn down before closing day. That's what that final walkthrough is for. So on closing day, you will, if you're given possession at that time, you will hand over the keys, the garage door openers, and things of that nature. Some sellers don't want to sit with the buyers. They want to come in a little bit early and sign on their side. That's fine. The closing attorney will accommodate for that. But for the most part, everybody's there together and you're signing everything together. That's pretty much what to expect. If you have any questions or if I've missed anything, put a note in the comment section below and I will address it. Or you can email me at lifelinetohome@gmail.com and I'll do another video answering those questions. And I will see you guys later. Y'all have a good day. Bye.